And now I would like to share some of my observations from doing this work, not only for the last 13 years. I believe I've been doing this for lifetimes. If you fly to the top of the mountain and you zoom out, there's actually 3 stages for everyone, just 3 stages. The first stage is when you first getting on this spiritual journey, just started your awakening process. And you're searching for answer, looking for teachers. Maybe you found one, maybe you're still looking for one. That's a stage when you don't have lots of spiritual knowledge and didn't have lots of spiritual practice, or you forgot about all the practice you accumulated over lifetimes. You're just very humble and have no ego. But to your understanding, you don't have lots of knowledge or understanding or modality or nothing. You're just so eager to learn and you're very devoted. You require yourself to live a more codified life. You need structure, you need guidance, and you're just eager to learn and very devotional. So that's the first stage, no ego, and you have this childlike innocence and purity. You just want to learn. And the middle stage, the second stage, that's where majority of spiritual seekers in this world is on the second stage. So once you cross from the first stage to the second stage, you're a little bit more aware, a little bit more developed spiritually, and with your knowledge, you gain some knowledge, you gain lots of information, you're very read, you found teacher, either a teacher or different teacher that are you have mentors, some people are into gurus, you have gurus, and your mental or intellectual or spiritual development is a bit more mature than the first stage, or significantly more mature than the first stage. And you gain knowledge, you gain wisdom, you gain awareness, and some people gain spiritual powers, spiritual abilities, and you change from the first stage of just general ignorant to actually quite worldly in your spiritual understanding and you become more philosophical. That is all wonderful, but the danger in this stage is you also developed more ego, more spiritual ego, and it's more dangerous in a way that you wouldn't know that you fool yourself, especially when you're very, very intelligent. Because intelligent people, they can argue like mad validity of their own pathology. So lots of intelligent people actually will be very blindsided to their own flaws or distortions. And when they gain lots of spiritual ego, a lot of things can happen. They can fall off the spiral and go set back in many, many levels, and prevent themselves from going forward because they think they have already arrived. And or there's some signs if they become all of a sudden arrogant or become all of a sudden, start giving unsolicited advice to everyone, start making a habit of lecturing everybody everywhere, every chance they will get, invited or not. And I think one of the biggest ego gratification is they will renounce or denounce their teachers. Of course, there are teachers who are not the brightest or not from the light, and you need to have discernment. But some of them, they just get this ego gratification, develop this spiritual superiority to just step over everyone. And so they can feel like I finally made it. So that's second stage. But along with a lot of problem behaviors, there's also other signs, and we'll go into it later. And number three, the third stage is one of the spiritual refinement. That's you've gone very far, but not actually made it. But you really made it so very far. A very small percentage of people can go that far. If you go any further, you go to Buddha and Jesus stage. But in this last stage is spiritual refinement. That's more like a spiritual finishing school. And that's what we're going to talk about in next class. In that stage, you have the spiritual awareness, highly aware, highly consciously aware. And you have this unconditional love, and you have the humility, and you have compassion. And again, just like the first stage, you don't have any more ego, and you have the childlike innocence and purity all over again. And your love is so pure. And at this stage, it's not devotional, but you just know God. So the first stage and last stage, there's similarities, but for entirely different reason. The first stage, they have no ego because they have full of insecurities. They wouldn't dare have an ego. On the last stage, they don't have an ego anymore because they have dissolved their ego and they're incredibly aware, incredibly kind. Well, in my
That's
opinion,
beautiful.
thank you. In my personal opinion, I think moths have reached the third stage.
Oh, thanks, Julie.